Alright, welcome back everybody. This week we're going to talk about Ruric Thar the Unbowed. He's a 6 cost, red-green, Vigilance Reach. Ruric Thar the Unbowed attacks each turn if able. Whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, Ruric Thar deals 6 damage to that player, and he's a 6/6. So there's some pretty serious ramifications for casting a non-creature spell. Especially to those that are in control colors and stuff like that. So if you're finding yourself in really control games, this might be the deck to go and grab. You're going to force that control player to have to use his counter spells on Ruric Thar, and that's that might allow some other players to get into that control player and take care of them. And then, the game can kind of proceed. You guys are probably wondering, Sean, like every deck you've done so far has been a green or white or red deck. I play a lot of control. I'm actually an Izzet player. I love blue-red. I like Esper too. I white, blue, black. And those decks are coming, just be patient. But for now, I'm kind of just going through this phase where I'm doing a lot of green and red decks. And so, anyway, this is, it's been a pretty fun build for me. I had to do a big rebuild on it. But anyway, let's jump into the deck. I'm going to share the cards that I've put in here and kind of what I was thinking as we kind of go along. So anyway, there's Ruric Thar. Alright, let's get moving here. Let's see. Alright, so I have 8 mountains. And no, those aren't Dragon Maze mountains, but I liked these for the deck, so I chose these mountains in particular. And we got these forests here. So there's 8 forests. Alright, Terramorphic Expanse. Here's our fetches. So Bloodstained Mire, Wooded Foothills, Windswept Heath, and Arid Mesa. And then we have, I tried to put these in order of what I would actually fetch them if I was going into the deck with my fetch lands. So I have Stomping Ground, so I would probably fetch this one first. And then next would either be this one, Cinderglade, depending on whether I have the basic lands in play or not, or Taiga, which is a mountain and a forest. And I probably would never even fetch this land because I'm actually hoping to use it for card draw later on, but it taps for red and green. And it is fetchable. A little bit of Scry here. Temple of the Abandoned. Command Tower, Game Trail. Yep, that's good. Red and green. We're going through our red-green cards here. Rootbog Crag. There's a lot of good dual lands in red and green. Karpluz, how do you say that? Karpluzan's Forest. Anyway, yeah, it taps for colorless and it also taps for red and green. And Firelit Thicket, color fixing. Temple of the False God, Ghost Quarter, sack to destroy land, and Strip Mine, same idea. So a couple of removal lands there. And then I have several elementals in here, so this will probably come in untapped if I reveal an elemental. And it gives a creature haste until the end of the turn. That's good. Trample, so these are our utility lands here. This gives trample, this gives trample. Flash something in, so there's Winding Canyons, Rogue's Passage, make something unblockable. These are just flexible dual lands. Okay, here we go. Work through all the land. Let's get into the rest of the deck here. So we got Soul Ring, if you've never seen this before. This is a pretty good card in Magic. Roll Signet. This is Oracle of Mul Daya. This is in Japanese. basically you flip over the top card of your library. If it's a land card, you can play it, and you're allowed to play an additional land per turn. 2/2. Courser of Kruphix, yeah, another way to flip over a top card of the library, and you can play land off the top of your library. No, it doesn't allow you to play an additional land, but you gain life when you play lands. This is going to allow you to play additional land, and it also allows you to give trample to something. And Oblivion Sower, steal land from other people, and or hopefully you're going to exile 4 cards off of their library, and hopefully they're either land cards or something that you really don't want that person to have. Expedition map, go fetch either that haste land or the trample land would probably be good to go fetch. This allows you to go fetch a land and put it into play, so it's basically along the same lines as Expedition map, but it's also gets as big as how many lands you have in play. Yavimaya Elder, so Grandpa here is going to let me also not only go and fetch land out of my library and put it into my hand, but it also lets me draw a card. And if you're ever confused, I actually just figured this out the other day. If you're ever confused whether you go to draw the card first or you go to find the lands first, it actually reads in the order that you're supposed to do it. So you would go find the lands and then you go draw the card. It actually reads in that order. So if you're ever confused, just read the card in order. All right. Fertilid. So he comes to play with 2 1/1 counters. I do have a few things in here that I can throw counters on stuff, so I might be able to get some more counters on him, and he'll let me go get basic lands if I pay 2 and remove a 1/1 counter. Sakura-Tribe Elder, sure, block, sack, go get some land, put it into play tapped. Vorinclex, yeah, he kind of fits in the ramp theme for us and in the screw everybody else. But I wanted to get couple of the Praetors in here too. I don't get to play the Praetors a whole lot, so I put a couple of the Praetors in here for pressure. I want this to have a lot of pressure to it. I want that blue player like scared, and I don't want to be playing at his speed. Shaman of the Forgotten Ways. So you can ramp up on the top half of them. I have done the Formidable trigger down there, so and lost. Actually lost with it, but yes, there is the Shaman of the Forgotten Ways. Okay, and then we have Gyre Sage. So Gyre Sage is evolve and it's just ramp. Got it. This is more ramp here with Selvala, Heart of the Wilds, but also we have some pretty big creatures in here, so we're probably going to be able to squeeze out a little bit of card draw with this top portion as well. Solemn Simulacrum, so card draw and ramp. Sylvan Library, card draw. Gamble. I have some recursion in here, so I figured I would go ahead and play Gamble in this deck since I do have the recursion. So I'll go and find exactly what I'm looking for, and then I may end up discarding it, but if I do, I have the recursion to go get it. Fierce Empath, look for something 6 cost, or when it enters the battlefield, look for a creature that's 6 cost or greater and put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. So I have a lot of 6 cost creatures or more in here that I may want to specifically look for. Visitor of the Menagerie, I hope I said that right. So it's kind of like Oracle of Mul Daya, only for creature spells. So that's good. So we're coming into the kind of the card draw stuff here. So I got these weird card draw cards. So when Combustible Gearhulk enters the battlefield, target opponent may have you draw 3 cards. So you choose the opponent. If that player doesn't, then you get to put 3 cards from your library into your graveyard, and then Combustible Gearhulk is going to deal damage to that player equal to the total converted mana cost of those cards. So like I said, I do have some more expensive cards in here. I think people are going to probably be scared to actually lose like a serious amount of life if they don't allow me to draw the 3 cards. Sin Prodder, kind of the same kind of idea with Combustible Gearhulk. So I'm going to reveal that card off the top of my library, and then an opponent may have me put that card in my graveyard. If that player does, Sin Prodder is going to do some damage to them. Tireless Tracker, so Lanner's battlefield, I get to investigate, and I can break clues for break clues to draw cards, and he just gets bigger. Rurik's Pack Leader, plenty of creatures in here with 3 or more power. So I'll get card draw there. Soul of the Harvest, yep, some more card draw from non-token creatures. And this one says is whenever a player plays a non-creature spell, each of that player's opponents may draw a card. So if somebody is playing a lot of non-creature spells, all the other players are going to get enough power to stop that person. Nissa Vital Force, so I can not only return stuff here and ramp, but I can also get into some card draw down here, and it's pretty easy to get there. Den Protector is a little bit of recursion for us, and I think it's the only morph card in the deck. Skullwinder, I can give a, well, it says when Skullwinder enters the battlefield, return target card from your graveyard to your hand, then choose an opponent, and that player returns a card from his or her graveyard to his or her hand. So it's a recursion spell on our creature, and yes, that other player is going to get something back, but that's fine. I'm getting back what I want to, and that has Death Touch. And Greenwarden of Murasa, it's got the 2 triggers. One's for when it enters the battlefield, and one's when it goes to the graveyard. I can exile it to return cards. Creeping Renaissance, probably choose creature, but maybe I'd choose land. I don't know. Ewit, get anything back. Alright, here we go into removal. So Bane of Progress is going to allow us to go ahead and blow up artifacts and enchantments and make a really big thing. Terastodon is going to allow us to blow up non-creature permanents. And it's a 9/9. Blows up 3 permanents and gives them some 3/3 elephants. World Breaker, it's going to allow us to exile an artifact, enchantment, or land, and then it has its own built-in recursion on here, so I can sack a land to go get them back. And this is going to remove, so when this comes into play, if you played it from your hand, remove all artifacts from the game. I'm seriously not like running a whole lot of artifacts in this deck. Usually I run a ton of artifacts, but I'm not running very many in this deck, so I'm going to go ahead and run this to take those kind of key artifacts away from people. And we have Ulamog, so I can exile a couple of permanents and then basically knock off a 5th of somebody's deck if I need to. Duplicate, exile a creature. In play, Blasphemous Act, burn everything for 13 damage. And it almost always casts for 1 in Commander. Scavenging Ooze, if somebody's really relying on their graveyard, this is going to allow me to exile some of those key pieces that they might be relying on in their graveyard and get them out of the game. And then if it's a creature, then it gets a 1/1 counter and I gain a life. So, all right, and then this is kind of the sub-theme that's been really built into this deck. So this is a Fling deck, so there's a bunch of Fling cards back here. Anyway, so you can sacrifice a creature. Fling deals damage equal to the sacrificed creature's power to target creature or player. So the cards that you're going to see coming up are all kind of along these lines. So grab the reins, and the second ability here. So I can sacrifice a creature, and then grab the reins, deals damage equal to the creature's power to target creature or player. Bloodshot Cyclops, sacrifice a creature, and then basically exactly what he's doing, throwing creatures around. This one is in Korean, but this is actually Heart-Piercer Manticore, and when Heart-Piercer Manticore enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice another creature. When you do, he deals damage equal to that creature's power to target creature or player, and then he does have Embalm down here, so it's kind of hard to see, but it's Embalm 6, and you can basically bring this token back into play and do it again. So it's recursion. Burning Anger, so I can throw this on a creature, and this creature deals damage equal to his power to target creature or player. So I don't have to sacrifice the creature, I can just put this on there and then tap it. Here's an instant, that's been pretty good. So target creature you control and play deals damage equal to its power to target creature or player. Chandra's Ignition, this is going to allow you to do it. Choose a creature in play, and it does damage to each creature and each opponent. So that's really good. It's actually been really good. And then Stalking Vengeance. Whenever another creature you control dies, it deals damage equal to its power to target creature or player. So with the fling effects, you could double down with this guy in play. Alright, and this is just make stuff big back here towards the end. So Xenagos, God of Rebels. Gives something haste and XX until the end of the turn, where X is that creature's power. And yes, he does become a real boy quite a bit in this deck. Forgotten Ancient, I can just, people cast spells, I put counters on him, I can move those counters off of him onto other stuff. Vigor, yeah, just look it up. Just look it up. I don't want to try and explain this card. It's just a really good card. Taurean Mauler, whenever an opponent casts a spell, this thing gets a 1/1 counter, and it just, when your opponents do. And so it gets big quick, and with Fling, it's pretty good. Pathbreaker, it's possible that I get this in play, and then when it attacks, if I've got a really big creature, like this next one I'm going to show you, they're all going to get a big +X until the end of turn and trample. So there's Malignus. So whoever your opponent is with the highest life total, this creature is half that life total. So if their life total is 40, this creature is going to be a 20/20. And then with something like Fling or Xenagos, with Xenagos he becomes a 40/40, and then with Pathbreaker Ibex, it just gets real stupid real fast. Okay. Umnath, again, I do have quite a few elementals in here, but this is just a way to make some more like 5/5 creatures, possibly get into card draw, and then when those elementals die, I can do 3 damage to target creature or player. So I thought it was a pretty flexible card for the deck. Soul of New Phyrexia is going to allow me to make my stuff indestructible if I need to until the end of the turn, or from the graveyard I can exile it to make it indestructible. Somebody might try to board wipe. If this is suspended, I can remove those suspend counters to go ahead and try and get this guy out onto the battlefield. So Greater Gargadon. Dragon Breath, this is just this is an aura that's just going to keep coming back over and over and over again. Anytime something with converted mana cost 6 or more comes into play. So I do have a lot of creatures, so this is going to give that creature haste and fire breathing. Urabrask is going to give haste, and it's just going to make stuff harder on your opponents because their stuff is coming in tapped. And last but not least is Vexing Shusher. So I can go ahead and sit back and kind of be a control of the control player. So they could be like, oh, I want to counter that spell, and I'll be like, no, I'm going to pay a red or a green, and I'm going to make sure that you can't counter it, so you're not getting your way. Anyway, that's my deck. I hope you enjoyed it. Next week I am going to be doing green, mono green, and it will be Titania, Protector of Argoth, I think is what it is. Anyway, I am doing this. If anybody is interested in submitting a deck tech, please contact me, and I will do what I can to go ahead and get you up, and so you can show us some of the neat decks that you have. Thanks for watching again, and I'll look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.